So today we're going to take a look at the proper way to dry your footwear when it's wet. I've worked in an outdoor retail for years, and more than not, people come back with complaints about the upper of their footwear falling apart. And most of the time this is due to poor maintenance, no maintenance, or I would say, 90% of the time it is a lack of drying your boots correctly. So basics for how to dry your boot. Here's some things that you don't want to do. Do not dry your boot with a direct heat source. And by direct heat source, I mean wood stoves, heaters, campfires, blow dryers, anything that seems like a great idea that's going to dry your boot really fast, which is usually what we're looking for when we're at this stage. All of those things are going to be harsh on the leather on the outside of the boot, as well as the glues that are used to hold the layers of the outsole together and attach it to the upper of the boot itself. So I know in a perfect world this is a great way to dry your boot. For those of you who are out there who are backpacking and you're in the middle of a 4-day trip and it's pouring rain and your boots are wet and you just want to put them by the campfire at night, that can be really tempting. For those of you that are in those situations that need to do it, just remember to try and keep them at a really respectable distance from the fire. Don't set them on the hot rocks around the fire ring or expose them directly to that heat source. It'll greatly expand the life of your boot. The best way to dry your boot is to let it air dry slowly over time, the amount of time it takes for it to dry. Sunshine can be great for this. If you've got a porch or a yard or whatever, you can stick your boots out in after you come home from a wet trip. That's a great way to dry them out. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to remove the insole. Sometimes these are wet, sometimes they're not. Clean some grit off of them, set those aside. I also kind of like to throw them in there, that way I don't lose them, and let those dry as well. To get the boot to dry, even if it's just the outside that's wet, the best thing you can do is take some newspaper. You're going to kind of roll it up into a ball, tuck that down inside the toe of the boot. Newspaper is extremely absorbent, and you might need a couple sheets here. You take another sheet and kind of tuck it in the top of the boot, and you're just going to want to let your boot sit like that and air dry. You're going to have to change the newspaper in it over time, let's say maybe once an hour. If you can keep tabs on it, just kind of take the wet newspaper out and put in new sheets in there so it can keep absorbing moisture. This is a pretty effective method at drying footwear without damaging the upper on the outside of the boot. And usually, within 24 hours you can get most of the moisture absorbed out of that shoe.